Here's the question. How do you and I, we're lost, how do we get found? Is it your initiative and my initiative as we go to God, or is it God's initiative as he comes to us? Can I go to God anytime I want to, or can I go to God only when he is leading and he is calling me to come to him? I won't spend a lot of time with the Arminians and the Calvinists if you're a theologian, but here we see the situation. How do we get right? How do we get safe? How do we know we are salvaged? How do you know we're in God's family? How do you know and I know that we're going to heaven? Most of us have the idea, the world does at least, that God grades on some kind of cosmic curve. You know, you've had class in which the teacher would grade on the curve, and they'd take the highest grade in the class, say the highest grade was 75, and perfection was 100, but 75 would be the highest grade, and they would take all the other grades and marshal them on down. So if you and I made a 40, the highest grade was 75, and the professor grade on the curve, that 40 might be a C and not an F. And so a lot of people think that God grades on the curve. That God is such a God of love that universalism, that everybody's going to be saved. Johns Hopkins University, I think this last semester, if I read it correctly, they had a professor there that said he always graded on the curve. And so they went in for a final exam, and the class decided, well, he's going to grade on the curve. The highest grade will get an A. What if all of us do not take the final, the only grade for the whole semester, and we all made a 0, and he would grade on the curve? We'd all make an A. And believe it or not, that's what they did. And believe it or not, he graded on the curve, and all of them made a 0, but it was the highest grade in the room, so all of them made an A. That's universalism if we think we get right with God by doing good. James White has presented a little graph of how grading on the curve looks. And I think it's very instructive. You see those way on the left there. Man, they're the sinners, right? They don't have a chance of being safe at the top, do they? Man, Idi Amin, Adolf Hitler, telemarketers. I mean, they're sinners. And you got those who sort of move up, you know. They're pretty good up there, but they probably won't make it. Then you got the right people. They're good enough. There's Gandhi, who wasn't a Christian. Sure enough, he's going to make it to heaven. He's good enough. Then you got the superstars there. You know, you've got Billy Graham. You've got St. Francis of Assisi. Mother. They're going to be all right. But where are we on the basis of being good? And by the way, we think of good in terms of how we treat people, don't we? You know, are we good? Are we good enough? And now the middle part there. See the middle part there? 2/3. That's probably where we think most of us are. You know, we may get a C or a D, but we're safe. I mean, we've done enough good. That's how a lot of people think God decides who's safe, who's a sinner, and who is a saint. I got news for you. God does not grade on a curve. Sorry, he doesn't do it. God grades on the basis of you're either saved, you're lost. You're either found or you're lost. To say it in this way, you pass or fail. In God's course, everybody here passes or fails. Good, better, best has nothing to do with it. Whoa. How does that work? You pass or you fail? What about all those good people? A lot of people say, well, how can God send anybody to hell? Ladies and gentlemen, God never sends a person to hell. We're free moral agents. We make our own choice about this thing. You say, hell is there. Why? Why does God even have to have a hell? Hell is there because we live in a moral universe. Without hell, there's no morality. There's no right and there's no wrong. There's no punishment for wrong, and there's no reward for being right. In other words, if there's no hell, what are you going to do with the pedophiles? What are you going to do with Adolf Hitler? What are you going to do with all of those in our city, right here where we live, who are selling thousands of children every day in sex trafficking? What are you going to do with those folks? I thank God there's a hell. And it is a moral choice that everybody makes.